Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to talk about filing and organization. And this is really the strength of Evernote. And it gives you several options to use in order to categorize your information. Now, the most obvious is that you can actually tag every note that you put together. So, in other words, there's a note that has lots of text in it. That text is going to be searchable. However, we may want to give that text some context. And so we can do that with tags. And if we're inside of the desktop app, all we'll need to do is to click Add Tag. And then we're just going to write in contextual information that will help us to find similar information when we want it. And what this means then is that when our information is properly synced, and we were to go looking for all of the documents that had classified ads or direct marketing, the one that we just notated would be one of those that we would find. And so tagging is one good way that we have available to us in Evernote of classifying our information. Now the notes are saved into notebooks, and this can have different groupings of notes that you think are similar or that give you a category that you like to keep together. And you can create as many notebooks as you want, and you want to create them according to a system that's going to make sense for you. Those notebooks can be further categorized into stacks. And so we can take a notebook, we can right click that notebook, and we can add that to a specific stack that we create. Once again, it gives us the latitude of being able to name and create a stack that makes sense for our categorization. And everything that we associate with our document can be categorized and annotated. And all we'll need to do is to go to the actual image or the actual piece of information and then right click it. We can rename that document whatever we want it to be. And you'll see that here. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a system that's going to be easy to manage, yet at the same time provides us information when we need it. We don't want to do searching and get an overwhelming number of responses because then that makes our search cumbersome. Now one of the other things that you can do is you can actually tag by setting a reminder, and you can go to this right hand menu and you can click Reminder, and you can add a date to the note. Now obviously there is a date posted and a date created that does give your document some context. However, when you remind yourself to look at it at a specific point in time, you are giving yourself another level of categorization that you can actually help yourself to look at it again when it's time. And so you can use the reminder feature in that manner. Now for hints of more customization, all you'll need to do is to click this information button. You can actually change any of this information to fit what it is that you want to search for. So for example, if you want to set a source URL, if you want to set a location, you can do that. And you can actually view the additional history as it is according to the document. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we want to discuss task integration. Evernote as it stands is not created for us to manage tasks in this platform. However, there are some direct integrations that you can actually use in order to integrate tasks and Evernote. In order to do that, you are actually going to click the search bar, and then we're going to click Task. Now, there are 5 associated apps with productivity and tasks. There's Ifty, which we have seen before, Zapier, and a few others. So one of the ways that we can actually use Evernote and some kind of task manager is to tie them together through an application like Ifty or one like Zapier. In fact, Zapier ties to the popular task manager called Wunderlist. And in fact, Wunderlist and Evernote have at least 8 different integrations that you can actually use in order to integrate tasks and your use of Evernote. So for example, in going into Zapier, you'll find that the connection point is that you can create a note in Evernote and then have Zapier work inside of Wunderlist to automatically create a task. And of course, all you'll need is your Evernote account and your Wunderlist account. You would then click what's called creating a zap. So the triggering action is that when a new note is created in a specific notebook. So we'll now need to collect an Evernote account. We'll allow Zapier to connect with our Evernote. We'll then put in our password. We'll give Zapier permission to work with Evernote. So now our Evernote account is connected. We're going to click Save and Continue. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select some advanced options. And then we're going to make sure that we use a specific notebook. So in this particular case, we're going to use the email content and copy notebook. What we're going to do now is we're going to click Continue. So to test our trigger, we want to have at least one note recently created. We're going to click Fetch and Continue. And Evernote says that our test has been successful. So now we will then click Continue. What we will do now is we will create a task inside of Wunderlist. We need to connect a Wunderlist account. We're now going to sign in. And we should test our Wunderlist account. When we are successful, we can click Save and Continue. And then we will write in a title. And we'll then click Continue. What we will do now is we will send a test to Wunderlist. And our task has just been sent to Wunderlist. So now what we can do is we can check Wunderlist to make sure that our task is now there. And if we look, our task has been added from Zapier into Wunderlist to help us to manage our tasks. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. You are now looking at Google Drive, and Google Drive is where you can not only have storage, but also all of the documents that you have within the Google Docs system. So anything that you have created in the way of slides, in the way of word processing documents, in the way of spreadsheets, is all available inside of Google Drive. And that's in addition to any other content that you have posted or linked in this area. As you can see, all users have available to them 15 gigabytes of storage space using Google Drive. And all is directed under the Gmail system. Currently, Evernote integrates directly with Google Drive. And you can see within any note, you'll be able to actually attach a file from Google Drive. So what we need to do is to create the integration. And you'll notice that this integration is available on all platforms except for Internet Explorer and Firefox. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and set up the integration. And we're going to do that by clicking the Try Now button. And that's going to take us to our Evernote account to sign in. What we'll need to do is to go inside of our settings. We can access them by going to the account area, then clicking on the settings, and then we can go to the connected services. And you're going to notice that the Google Drive area is not necessarily signed into. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this on for Google Drive. That'll bring us through the sign in, and we're going to click Allow. And then we will be connected to Google Drive. We can also sign in with Google in one click, and we are then connected. So now we'll want to make sure that all of our devices are now synced. And so we'll go to our desktop and we'll click Sync. That means now that our desktop is now synced to the web application. That now means then that if we go to a certain point in our document and we actually put a space holder in there, we can then go and get our Google Drive information. So we can click Attach File from Google Drive. And what you'll see now from within Evernote are all of the documents that are available within Google Drive, except that they are now inside of Evernote. So we have a full integration. So all we'll need to do is we'll need to click on what we want to select and then click the select button. And you'll see now that this Google Drive document has now been linked inside of our notes. Now, just as is the case with all the other content, this content is now searchable within our Evernote. And the same is true in the web app. And just as a point of reference, you will not be able to search the content of these documents, but you will be able to search their titles. And because this is an online application, this will not count towards your upload quota for the month. So using Google Drive is really a way of being able to extend the storage capability of Evernote. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. If you'd like another level of organization and categorization, you can actually integrate Evernote with a very popular application called Trello. And Trello allows you to manage lists as well as individual items. And while Evernote allows you to archive individual items, you can combine the two in an integration in Zapier. Evernote and Trello have about 11 total integrations. And so as soon as you find the integration that best fits, you can start the integration process between the two applications. For example, you can actually have a Trello card created from an Evernote note. You can have that Evernote note created from a specific workbook of your choosing. So let's use this particular Zap to set it up, knowing that you'd use the same process to do any of the other Zaps that you see in the Evernote and Trello integrations. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Use this Zap. Once we do that, we're going to click Create this Zap. We then have our Evernote trigger. And then we're going to select our Evernote account. Once again, we're going to reauthorize Zapier with Evernote. And that brings us back to our Zap. So we're going to click Save and Continue after our test. And then we're going to choose the notebook that we are going to be using. We'll then click Continue. Once we have verified that we actually have a task that is being collected, we're going to click Fetch and Continue. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click Continue. And in order to connect Trello, what we're going to do is to start the process with the Create Card link. Then we are going to connect our Trello account. Trello is going to ask us to let Zapier use our account. We're going to say yes. Then we're going to click Allow. And then our Trello account will then be connected to Zapier. We're going to click Save and Continue. Then we're going to choose a specific Trello board. And we're going to choose the one that we created. We're going to choose a list within that board. And then we're going to click Continue. So now all we need to do is to send a test to Trello. Once we note that Zapier has sent the card, we can then check our Trello account. And we can see that our note is inside of Trello. So we can now click Finish. So now our Zap is working, and that means that Trello and Evernote are now connected. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.